What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so I kind of want to do something new, not really new, but something we haven't done in a little while, and that will be covering Aquaman. Now, for me personally, I feel like he's one of those popular superheroes that unfortunately does not get a lot of coverage from other people. Now, when it comes to Aquaman, we did cover, Jeff Johns' run on the character in the new 52, but this time kind of want to cover DC Rebirth Aquaman. And the reason why, because this was actually the series that got me into the character. For a short period of time, I was only reading a select few books. When DC Rebirth launched, I read a range of different books from DC Comics, but one of my favorite books from DC Rebirth was Aquaman. And so I kind of want to dive right back into this series and cover the entire run. Now, in today's video, we're going to cover Volume 1, and Volume 1 contains issue number 1 up to issue number 6. We're going to go ahead and skip over the DC Rebirth Aquaman special, and the reason why, because most of the content in that book right there is going to be shown in the later chapters of today's video. And so I felt like we can go ahead and kind of push that to the side for the time being and just focus on issue number 1 all the way up to issue number 6. And so getting into today's storyline, we do pick up in Amnesty Bay. Now remember, Amnesty Bay is the city where Aquaman grew up at. Matter of fact, he was raised by his father at the lighthouse in this city. Either way, we do pick up with Aquaman and Mara currently waking up but getting ready for the day, because apparently something big is about to happen down the road later on in the day. Now we kind of find out that apparently it's some kind of big project that Aquaman has been working on, and this project is going to help out both the surface world but also the people of Atlantis, bringing the two worlds together finally. Because thanks to DC New 52, a lot of different events happen in that short period of time, where basically the surface world is very scared of Atlantis. And so it's Aquaman saying, I am from both the surface world and from Atlantis, and my goal is to have both worlds come together and work together to make the earth better. But at the same time, Atlantis deserves the right to be part of the rest of the world and not be shunned down to the ocean. And so it's him saying, I really do hope my project can actually do everything I've been wanting it to do, bringing both the surface world and Atlantis finally together and getting rid of the fear that the surface world has about Atlantis. So we kind of find out the big project that Aquaman has been working on is better known as the Spindrift. It is going to be the Atlantis embassy on American soil to begin the process of bringing both the surface world and the Atlantis world together, starting with America. Now, with that being said, we do pick up with two characters. One of the characters is going to be Ray Delane. Now, when it comes to Ray Delane, apparently he is a reporter that was sent here by the Daily Planet. And the other person we're going to focus on is going to be Joanna Stubbs, who's part of the Royal Navy. Now, besides focusing on Ray and also Joanna, we have to realize that there are a lot of people coming to this huge opening, because you have different people from different organizations from different parts of America coming here to see this new place that Aquaman has built on American soil. Now, with all that being said though, when it comes to Joanna, she's kind of freaking out a tad bit, because this is a lot for her, and possibly a lot for almost anybody who is from the surface world. Because most of the time when it came to Atlantis, anytime you saw anything from Atlantis and you were from the surface world, it was some kind of weapon being used on American people. But now here is this station with different kinds of Atlantis food, Atlantis tech, Atlantis people. It's a lot for her to kind of take in all at once. But luckily for her, she is confronted by one of the people who is actually a captain in Atlantis army, and that will be Captain Sark. Now, when it comes to Sark, you can tell that Homeboy is kind of feeling Joanna a tad bit. Like, Homeboy wants to get her number. He's all like, hey, she's kind of cute. I kind of want to get with her a little bit. But do you have everybody stop what they're doing? And the reason why? Because Aquaman just walked in alongside with Mera. And this is a big moment because with these two walking in, it's kind of like, okay, we have the king of Atlantis, but we also have the future queen of Atlantis as well, because by this point, these two are technically not married yet. Either way though, you have everybody just kind of like, oh my God, that's him. That's Aquaman. It's the king of Atlantis. That's just crazy and cool. But you didn't have Aquaman say the reason why he built this place for. And like I said earlier, he's trying to bring the two worlds together, the surface world and Atlantis together. Because the problem is the surface world has so much fear towards Atlantis, but Atlantis has so much hatred towards the surface world. And so now it's time for both parties to come together and begin the process of trying to make the earth a better place, not just for Atlantis, but also for the surface world, for the future generations. But we have to shift our focus over to Ray, and the reason why, because Ray is going to play a very huge important role here in a moment. But you have Ray trying out different kind of food items that came from Atlantis. Unfortunately, after a couple bites, he gets sick and he runs off to the bathroom. Now we jump over to Sark, who is still flirting with Joanna, the lady from the Royal Navy, except that is when you have Mera walk in. And she tells Sark, I need you to go check up on Ray. We cannot have any surface people getting sick on the big opening day of this station. And so you have Sark go and check up on Ray. Except when Sark goes into the bathroom, he realizes that there have been bombs placed all across the bathroom wall. He's kind of like, what in the world is going on? Now, at first, he does not believe it was Ray who placed the bomb because Ray is currently leaning against the wall like he's very sick, to only find out it was Ray who had placed the bomb. But on top of that, this is not Ray. The real Ray is dead right now in the trunk of his car. This is actually somebody else. It is Black Manta. And you have Black Manta very upset again towards Aquaman. And so of course it would be him trying to bring down a brand new station that Aquaman had just built. And so he begins the process of basically setting off the bombs to blow up the actual station. And for Aquaman, this is kind of sad because this was the big opening day for this station, for him to try to bring both the surface world and Atlantis together for once. But unfortunately now it's getting blown up by Black Manta. Matter of fact, when Aquaman realized it was Black Manta who is trying to blow up the place, it gets Aquaman angry and upset about the idea that he would do this. Now, here's the thing, because the only reason why Black Manta is here is to get revenge, because apparently he blames Aquaman for killing somebody. Now, we have no idea who Aquaman has killed by this point of the story, but again, he's kind of like, the surface world should be scared of you because you are a killer. There's no way a killer can be loved by both Atlantis and the surface world. Somebody like you has to be put down, and I'm that person who is going to put you down. And so as we jump into the second chapter, we do pick up with a flashback. Now with this flashback, we do pick up with a younger Aquaman going after the father of Black Manta. Now we're not told why, but you do have the younger Aquaman in this flashback being able to find the father of Black Manta, and you have the two characters fight against each other. Except Black Manta in that flashback was there as well. He was just in the lower parts of the boat. But once he is able to get back to the surface, he sees that his father is dead and in the arms of Aquaman, where he is left to believe that Aquaman had killed his father. And so then we jump over to the present day, where we pick up with Aquaman still fighting against Black Manta. The only thing is, while you have the two sides fighting against each other, you have Aquaman trying to tell Black Manta that when it comes to the death of Black Manta's father, it kind of taught Aquaman a huge lesson about the idea of how wrong it is to kill someone, how wrong it is to do something out of rage, out of anger. And so he tells Black Manta his father's death, Black Manta's father's death, taught Aquaman a huge lesson, and it made him the man he is today. Without that incident right there wouldn't be an Aquaman in the world. We would probably have somebody completely different, but still out there killing people left and right. And so he's trying to tell Black Manta that he learned from that lesson. He learned from that mistake. But for Black Manta, it doesn't matter because Aquaman killed his father. And so this is him saying, you do not deserve the right to be happy. You deserve to be punished. You deserve to be killed. You deserve to lose everything around you because you took everything from me. And so the two sides continue to fight against each other up to the point where you have Aquaman being able to finally defeat Black Manta. And so once you have Aquaman being able to keep Black Manta in one singular spot, you have Aquaman say, I could kill you right now. Like, if I do kill you off, literally, I will break the cycle. This cycle that you and I are in, where innocent lives are also lost in this cycle. I can finally break it. It would be a great thing. But the thing is, I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to be that killer I was when it came to killing your father. I'm not trying to be that guy. But the thing is, what do you get out of my death? What do you get if you kill me? And you have Black Manta say, well, I will finally get my revenge against you. But then you have Aquaman tell Black Manta, that's it? That's literally it. If you kill me off, you will get your revenge, and that is it. You don't realize that after you kill me off, your life is technically still ruined. You already did ruin your life trying to come after me, to kill me, to get revenge against your father. But the thing is, even if you kill me off, your life is still ruined because you didn't build anything else for your life because you were trying to always come after me. And because of that, your life is still going to be ruined either way. So why not try to get rid of that hatred and try to build something better for yourself so that you can have a better future? And so you have Black Manta go ahead, drop the weapon, and then you have Black Manta give up. And Aquaman is able to take Black Manta into custody. Now, after a couple hours after that incident, of course, you do have Black Manta begin to be transported to somewhere else because, again, he did attack an embassy on American soil, and so he did break a few laws. He is technically a terrorist. Either way, he's getting sent away to jail, except on his way to jail, well, that is the moment somebody blows up the truck that he was being transported in. And then they open up the door to say, we are here to free you. And we're left to wonder, who is this particular group that just came out of nowhere to support Black Manta, to free him, and then leave with him? Now, when we jump into the third chapter, a few hours have passed by since the big incident with Black Manta attacking the Spindrift, where we actually pick up with Captain Merc. Now, Captain Merc is going to play a major role, not a major role, but he does play a big role when it comes to the overall series of DC Rebirth Aquaman. But either way, when it comes to Merc, he is the commander to the Atlantean Royal Guard. But the problem is right now, he's trying to get back inside the Spindrift, the embassy that was made for Atlantis. But unfortunately, you have these soldiers telling him, you guys are not allowed to go in there at all. Now, before Aquaman does appear, you have the soldiers say, listen, there was a terrorist attack on American soil in this embassy. And technically, because it was on American soil, this was American property, not Atlantis property, meaning that we have the right to keep you guys out of this area because it's on our soil, it's our property. And so until we are able to figure out what to do with this embassy, it has been completely shut down and you guys are not allowed to go in. Now, Aquaman does appear. When he does appear and when he hears this, he's all like, okay, I kind of understand where America is coming from, but I want to talk to somebody about the idea of reopening this embassy because, again, my goal is to have the surface world and also Atlantis working together finally. Now, you do have Aquaman meet up with Mera. Now, when he does tell Mera what happened to the actual embassy. But on top of that, we kind of find out America took away Atlantis' diplomatic status. And so, unfortunately, it hurts Aquaman's goal with the idea of having the two worlds coming together. And so when it comes to Mera, he's telling her, I need your help. Like, I need you to come with me as we head over to Washington, DC to talk to somebody about the idea of us regaining our embassy, but to also regaining our diplomatic status. And so at first, you can kind of see that Mera does not want to do this at all. And really, most of Atlantis does not want to do anything at all when it comes to the surface world. It's really just Aquaman. But it's Aquaman trying to kill off the fear the surface world has with Atlantis, but at the same time, he's also trying to get rid of the hatred that Atlantis has towards the surface world. Two big goals he is trying to accomplish by himself. He does have some help, but the problem is his help is really not trying to help. They're only helping because, one, he is their king, but two, because Mera loves the man so much. But then we have to jump back over to Black Manta. Now remember, at the end of the last chapter, we saw somebody break Black Manta out of his containment. And now we get the chance to learn who that lady was. We kind of find out that her name is Blackjack, and she's part of a new group known as Nemo. Now, when it comes to Nemo, it does stand for something, but unfortunately, we're not told what it is right at this moment. Either way, when it comes to Blackjack and Nemo, they want to offer Black Manta a job because they realize that Black Manta really does hate Aquaman, and they want to use that hatred as a way to hurt Aquaman, but to also hurt Atlantis as well. Now, when it comes to Blackjack, she's very impressed about the idea that Black Manta was able to break out of his cuffs. But again, she's all like, listen, I want to take your hatred and use your hatred towards Aquaman to achieve a goal. We can actually work together. But if you are able to pull off this job, that means you'll be able to meet my boss. And so we jump over to the White House where we pick up with Aquaman and Mera. Now, when we do, they're meeting up with the Chief of Staff. Now, when it comes to the Chief of Staff at the White House, he tells Aquaman and Mera why they lost both their embassy, but also their status as a diplomatic. And so he says the reason why you lost both of those things is because what happened at the embassy. There was a terrorist attack. Now, you could say, hey, Black Manta is actually, you know, from the surface world, not from Atlantis. But the problem is, though, Black Manta was coming after Aquaman for personal reasons. And so when it comes to the Chief of Staff, he's saying, the problem is America is still scared of Atlantis. You have to realize, you guys, Atlantis, has attacked multiple cities across America. And he's not wrong, because remember, in the New 52, there was a whole storyline where Aquaman's evil brother Orm did attack America. And so it was a huge attack on America when he did that. And so for the Chief of Staff, he's saying, you may tell us that Atlantis has gotten better, that Atlantis could possibly work with us. But the problem is we still have that fear. And what happened yesterday shows we still should be scared of you guys, because no matter what, you guys bring in trouble. We are worried about security for America. we then jump over to a random American Navy ship. Now with this ship, it's in the middle of the ocean just minding its business. Unfortunately, it does get attacked by a group of soldiers that come from Atlantis. Matter of fact, this group is called the Deluge. Now when it comes to this particular group, they're also going to play somewhat of a big role in later stories as well. Either way, when they do attack this Navy ship, they say they're doing it in the name of Atlantis, which right there is a bad thing for Atlantis. And so when we jump back over to the White House with Aquaman, Mera, and also the Chief of Staff, you did have the Chief of Staff and our two heroes get word what just happened to that Navy ship. But the problem is, it's now going to be used as another example why America cannot trust Atlantis at all. Because now an entire Navy ship was attacked by a group of Atlanteans. And now America believes that it was Aquaman who had ordered the attack. And so he gets arrested. Now the thing is, Aquaman could easily break free and go back home to Atlantis. But for Aquaman, he wants to be used as an example to prove something. And so he tells Mera, no, let them arrest me and let them take me away. Everything is going to be okay. And so when we jump into the 4th chapter, we do pick up with Aquaman being escorted to a prison cell. Now, this opening for this chapter is kind of funny to me because while you had these security guards or these guys trying to take Aquaman to a prison cell, they begin to ask him different kind of questions like, okay, so do you need a cell that's like full of water? Do you need water every like 5 minutes? Like, how does your body actually work? And it shows that when it comes to Aquaman, the public does not know much about him. And so, of course, these questions are them trying to get a better understanding of who the guy truly is. But you have Aquaman kind of like, dude, listen, I don't need anything. I'm going to sit here because I want to prove to you guys that it wasn't Atlantis who attacked your boat, but at the same time trying to prove to you guys that what I'm trying to do is going to benefit both Atlantis, but also America and other nations around the world. But then we pick up with Tula. Now remember, Tula is kind of like one of those not really minor characters in the world of Aquaman, but at the same time not major. She's kind of like right in the middle for me personally. But either way, when it comes to Tula, she was left in charge of Atlantis with Aquaman being put in jail. And so while he's in prison, she's left in charge to run Atlantis until he comes back. Now here's the thing, because the people of Atlantis is very upset about the idea that their king has been arrested and locked away in prison. And so when it comes to the people of Atlantis, they're all like, hey, we gotta attack America right now. We gotta get our king back. But you have Tula being the great, second in charge, calming everybody down because she knows Aquaman would not want that at all. And so she's saying, listen, we are first going to investigate what happened to the boat to figure out if Atlantis or people of Atlantis really did attack the boat. But on top of that, we're going to find a way to prove that Aquaman is innocent and we are also innocent as well to get him out of there. We are going to do things the right way and not the wrong way. Yes, sometimes violence could lead to some good solutions, but sometimes violence could lead to bad solutions as well. And so we're trying to do a more peaceful way to reach a better solution. And so we pick up with Merc. Now, when it comes to Merc, him and his team are looking around trying to investigate what happened here when it came to this Navy ship. The problem is every single clue they find proves that this attack did come from somebody from Atlantis. Now, when it comes to Merc, he realized, okay, it had to be the Deluge. Now, the Deluge is a group of people who technically disagree with everything Aquaman is trying to do, especially with the idea of Atlantis and the surface world coming together. And so because of that, they're kind of like going out of their way to do different kind of attacks to end that future from happening where America and other nations work with Atlantis. Now, with all that being said, when it comes to Merc, he believed that Aquaman had actually stopped the entire group of Deluge. But apparently, the group is bigger than what they had expected, which means there are more members out there who could possibly do more attacks very soon to the surface world, or possibly to Atlantis as well. And so we then pick up with Black Manta. Now, when we do, he's currently with Blackjack as they're heading over to a particular area, which is the base to Nemo. Now, when it comes to Nemo, their main goal is like most evil super groups, where they're trying to, you know, rule over the world. But she says, listen, the first goal to do that is to control the ocean, because the ocean does play a huge role in the future of the Earth's survival. If you are able to control the ocean, then you are able to control the entire world. The problem is, though, the ocean is technically owned by Aquaman and the people of Atlantis. And so that is why she brought in Black Manta, to help her get rid of Aquaman and Atlantis, so that they are able to begin the process of trying to, you know, rule over the ocean. And so when it comes to Black Manta, it's kind of like, okay, this could actually be a good deal for me, because then I still be able to get rid of the one person I hate the most, which is Aquaman. But we do jump back over to the White House, where we pick up with the Chief of Staff and Mara. Now, when we do, this is the Chief of Staff telling us that he truly does believe it was Atlantis who attacked that Navy ship. But on top of that, he's kind of like, listen, my team just caught your team trying to investigate, or possibly trying to rob lost items in the crash site. And he is talking about Merc and his team, who was there to investigate to prove that it was not Atlantis. But the problem was, they just got caught by America. And so now it looks even worse on Aquaman, Mara, and the rest of the people of Atlantis. Now, when it comes to the Chief of Staff, he's kind of like, you know what? I do believe you guys were trying to kill us off, or trying to kill off that Navy ship. But at the same time, I can tell by your attitude. Because when it comes to Mara, she's kind of like the hothead when it comes to her and Aquaman. Like literally, she's more of attack first, ask questions later. And so sometimes her mouth can get, you know, herself and others in trouble. And so when it comes to the Chief of Staff, the entire time as he tried to talk to Aquaman and her mouth has been running left and right. He's all like, you know what? I do believe that you guys did attack that Navy ship. And so then you have Mara do the one thing that could possibly make things a whole lot worse, which is break out Aquaman from prison. Yes, you heard that right. She literally goes out of her way to break him out of prison. Now, the reason why she does this is because she says, listen, when it comes to Atlantis in America, shots have been fired. Now, when it comes to Atlantis, Aquaman, Mara, nor did Tula order the attack. But she is saying we have no choice here. We have to go back down into the ocean and stop the bloodshed, because your way is not working. Yes, I understand you want to sit down and talk things out, but unfortunately talking is getting us nowhere. And so we have to find a new solution, a new way to kind of bring peace between the two nations. But first, we got to stop the bloodshed that is currently happening right now. So we gotta go. Now, Aquaman, he's kind of mad about this because, again, he wanted to do things in a peaceful way. But at the same time, he understands what his wife is trying to say here. And so when we jump into the 5th chapter, we pick up with Aquaman and Mara now fighting against a small portion of the US Army. I mean, a real small portion, but they were brought here because, again, Aquaman just broke out of prison and you need to bring everything you can to basically bring this man down. Now, here's the thing though, because while you have our two heroes fighting against the army, Mara is more down with the idea of just killing people left and right. She's all like, you know what? You can die, you can die, you can die too. But Aquaman, he's more of like, no, if I'm still going to be able to achieve my goal where Atlantis and the surface world can work together, nobody can die here at all. And so yes, I do agree, we gotta take down their tanks, take down their jets, take down their weapons, but we cannot kill not one single person here. And so then we jump over to the chief of staff, who is currently inside the situation room alongside with other people who basically work out of this room. Now here's the thing, because you have every single person in this room watching what Aquaman and Mera are currently doing to the US Army who is trying to bring them down. Now we come to find out the President of the United States of America had basically just told the Chief of Staff, hey, go ahead and use lethal force. He is a king of a country that had basically attacked us. They attacked a Navy ship. Right now, he is technically a terrorist. On top of that, he just broke out of prison, which means bring him down hard. Now, when it comes to some members in the situation room, they don't want to use any kind of lethal force because Aquaman is part of the Justice League. But at the same time though, they don't have a choice here. Their boss in charge says, no, you have to use lethal force. Now, the president does call up the chief of staff one more time, and he does ask the chief of staff, do I make the call? And the guy tells him, yes, President, make the call right now. And we're left to wonder, what kind of call is he planning on making? But getting back over to Aquaman and Mera, well, they are currently having an argument, literally an argument in the middle of their battle, because she can tell that Aquaman is mad at her because this is her fault. Like, yes, he did get in more trouble when it came to Merc and his team being caught investigating the crash site of the Navy ship. But the thing is, she broke him out of prison, which brought more pressure on Aquaman, but also more pressure on the people of Atlantis as well. And so this is him saying, we will never know if my way could have possibly worked because your hothead action got us into more trouble. And here we are now fighting for our lives. Now, when it comes to Mera, she thinks that Aquaman is going to call off the wedding. But he says, no, I want to marry you. But at the same time, I want to figure out if we can survive this right now. So please stop talking to me and keep on fighting. But getting back over to Tula, she's right now getting reports of two different things happening at once. First, it's Aquaman and also Mera, who are currently being attacked by the US Army. But the second thing she's also hearing about is also Merc and his team being chased right now by the US Navy. And so while she's sitting there kind of wondering what she should do next, these reports are coming in fast and hard. And she's kind of like, dang, I'm gonna have to go against what my king told me to do, which is not try to attack America at all, but to protect my king, to protect my queen, to protect my people who are currently on the run from the US Navy. I have to do what I have to do. And so she tells the Atlantis army, get ready, because we have to save our king and queen, but also our people who are being chased right now by the US Navy. Now we do jump back over to Black Manta and also Blackjack, who are currently heading over to the base of Nemo. And when they do arrive, you do have Black Manta being able to meet the Fisher King. Now the Fisher King is the one in charge of Nemo, but apparently he's still wondering why in the world should he offer a position for Black Manta to join Nemo. Now when it comes to Black Manta, he's all like, no. Why should I join you? Because I feel like I can show you what could really happen to your organization. I can show you how to actually run this entire organization. Now we do pick up with Joanna. Now remember, we saw her in the first chapter and she was the person kind of hitting on Mr. Sark earlier. Either way, she's at the home of Aquaman and Mera. Now when she does arrive, she is confronted by Erica Watson, who's part of Amnesty Bay Police Department. And she got word to lock down the lighthouse. And we all know why, because of what Aquaman and Mera are currently doing. Either way though, when it comes to Joanna, she's kind of like, okay, I'll leave. But before I leave, can you make sure to do one thing for me? can you give Aquaman this if he ever does come back over here? And you do have Erica say yes, and Joanna leaves. Now we have to jump back over to Aquaman and Mera, and the reason why, because they're still trying to fight their way over to the ocean. Unfortunately though, they realize they can no longer jump there, because if they go in the air, they'll get shot out of the sky very quickly. And so unfortunately, they have to go by ground. But while you have our two heroes trying to reach the ocean, well, they are confronted by Superman. And so when we jump into the final chapter for today's video, we do pick up with Aquaman fighting against Superman. Now, the reason why he's fighting against Clark Kent is because he's trying to prove something here. And what he's trying to prove, that when it comes to Aquaman and the people of Atlantis, he does not need any kind of help at all from anybody from the Justice League. Now, Clark Kent was called by the president, hoping that Clark Kent will be able to handle this situation. But unfortunately for Aquaman, he's all like, dude, I don't want your help, because I'm trying to prove something here. That Atlantis could be a great ally to America. That Atlantis is not a bunch of people who are savages. Atlantis can be great to not just America, but to also other countries around the world. What I'm trying to achieve has to be done by me and my people. I cannot have you guys involved, because if I do, it is just going to ruin everything for us. It's not going to prove anything for us at all either. And so he wants Clark and the rest of the league to kind of step to the side. Except for Superman, it's really more of like, no, I need to jump in, because I want to make sure there's no bloodshed between any side here. But again, it's Aquaman saying, I don't care what you want, I want to do what I want. Now, when it comes to Aquaman, the reason why he is so motivated by doing this is because when it comes to the entire Justice League at this point in time in DC Comics, he feels like he is the black sheep of the group, because you have the Trinity, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the big three, and then the next big three, Cyborg, Flash, Green Lantern, and then there's Aquaman, who's kind of just there. And a lot of times he's just there to be there for different kind of reasons done by DC Comics. The main reason why, because originally he was a founding member of the League. Either way though, besides that, it's kind of like he is the black sheep of the group. And so he is trying to prove, not just to us readers, but also to the people in DC Comics, that Aquaman could be a great ally for almost anybody. That Aquaman could be an actual threat towards anybody at all. He's not a pushover, he's actually somebody who is very important in the world of DC Comics. And so you have Clark realize that Aquaman is not going to back down when it comes to the idea of actually being able to prove something like this. And on top of that, Clark was getting his butt kicked by both Aquaman and also Mera. And so you have Clark Kent realize that no matter what, he has to let Aquaman do what Aquaman wants to do. So he's all like, fine, if you are trying to prove that Atlantis is not a bunch of people who are savages, but at the same time trying to build that bond between America and also Atlantis, I am going to allow you to actually continue on. But I'm telling you right now, if I have to step in with the rest of the league, you are not going to like it at all. And so you have Mera and Aquaman go ahead and head back to Atlantis. By the way, you also have Aquaman tell Tula, do not attack anywhere at all. Also return back to Atlantis as well. And so the war, or the big war that could have came out of this, has just been prevented. And so we have to jump back over to Black Manta. Now, when we do, it's really more of Black Manta about to make a statement, because remember, he was offered a chance to join Nemo. Except when it comes to Black Manta, he hates the idea of working for somebody. He'd rather be the boss. And so you have Black Manta go ahead and kill off the Fisher King. And after doing that, he looks at the other members of Nemo and says, does anybody have any kind of questions? No? That's great, because now I'm in charge of Nemo and it's time for us to get to work. And this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.